This week my blog comes to you live from a place called Russell Square, which is in a little section of London called Bloomsbury, which is basically the heart of the university quarter. You know, it's interesting because I never planned on coming to London. The holiday was already booked when I was asked by a friend online if I was going to the UFC 120 event, which was hosted down here. The thought had never crossed my mind because obviously I don't have a lot of money, but prices were very, very reasonable, so quite spontaneously I booked the whole lot. Like I said, I'd already booked the hotel. It was just sort of luck, I guess, that I'd booked this weekend as part of that 2 weeks off. But there's another reason that I'm quite glad I came to London, and that is to exorcise some demons. You know, I've only been to London once before, since leaving in 2005. 2005, you know, I would have loved to have stayed and worked in London. I couldn't because I broke my fingers at the end of my tenure with St Paul's, and that's what sort of pushed me back up north. I came back down for UFC 85, in fact, but it was different then because I was meeting friends from abroad. I was meeting some of the Americans and sort of dealing with them. So I didn't really have chance to deal with myself. Now, this time, apart from meeting with a couple of friends, I have more or less been alone. In some ways, that's quite good because it's actually given me a chance to revisit some of the places that I've had difficulties with, or I've got memories, lingering memories that sort of need to be laid to rest, I guess. There are three main points of concern. The first one being Heathrop College. Now, I haven't visited that. There's no need. I had a failed masters down here, in fact, and I came to terms with that one pretty quickly because it wasn't a subject that I enjoyed in the first place. And had I done more research, I think I wouldn't have gone for it. Now, the second set of demons, if you like, revolve around St Paul's Cathedral itself, where I used to work. I enjoyed my time down in London. I enjoyed my time down at St Paul's, but it was a very intense experience, and there was one major issue that caused quite a lot of emotional, I guess, and psychological pain, which, you know, although I've got over the initial anger of what happened, a lot of the memories and a lot of the leftover pain was still around, and I wasn't able to get rid of that by visiting St Paul's the first time I was down here because I was too preoccupied with what was going on, so with the Americans and stuff like that. So now that I'm down here on my own, I had a chance to go to Evensong, and in fact I noticed it was completely different because there has now been a complete revolution of clergy. There's now nobody in the place that I know, and it was in fact quite fitting that by accident they announced that the last person to leave, which was Canon Lucy Winkett, was getting installed at her new place, which is St James Piccadilly, not far away. So I went along to that and I saw quite a few faces that I knew. I wasn't going to stay originally, but I did in the end. Basically what happened was I went outside to text a friend of mine, and as I was doing that, the procession sort of walked through the churchyard, and they stopped because of course Lucy and the Bishop of London know who I am, and they invited me in, so I ended up going in and staying for the whole thing. But that was good because that was sort of like an ending. The people of St Paul's have all moved on, and now I guess, you know, so can I. The final set of demons rest actually around this place here. When I wasn't feeling so well during the early part of my tenure at St Paul's in 2003, I used to come and I used to sit on that bench there, in fact, in front of the fountains. I started on the steps of St Paul's, but when it got quite cold during the winter about this time of 2003, I moved here because I went swimming at the University of London Union every day that I wasn't working, and it was just easier because I could sit here when it was nice outside, and when it was cold I could go into the Union building itself. And then I never went back to the steps. I just stayed here for the rest of the time that I was doing that university course, and I used to bring my reading out here and I used to read. But it was also a place where I possibly suffered the most intense of my symptoms, I guess you could say. Worried about them. I remember sitting watching the trees that are sort of up there on the other side of the fountains, and of course we're a bit early now, but this must have been winter because all the leaves had fallen off and they were just like sort of twigs. Quite poignant memories for me. So it's just nice to sort of be able to come back and have a drink as well in the place that I used to frequent a lot over here, which is the cafe, and just move on, because a lot of people know that I am beginning to climb down on my medication now on an attempt to come off it. So there we are. As for the trip itself, it's been extremely worthwhile. It's been very, very expensive, but the events themselves were good value for money. I did enjoy them. I'm absolutely over the moon that both Paul Sass and Rob Broughton, two fighters who I met and know from my time in Cage Gladiators, won their debuts in style, fantastically. In fact, their matches on the undercard were a lot better than some of them on the upper card. In fact, the big disappointment of the evening, from a sort of tearful perspective, not an angry perspective, was of course that Dan Hardy didn't quite do as well as we had hoped. I did in fact say in my predictions video that I was quite worried about that match because I sort of know a little bit about Carlos Condit, so I admit that I'm a little bit saddened about that, but there we are. Nobody wins everything. I enjoyed the expo, and you can see the videos that I've done from that, and I of course enjoyed the event itself, and meeting Kaz, who I know from YouTube. In fact, who was the one who inspired me to come down for the event in the first place. So until next week, I guess that's it.